Strong communities start with you. And for 29 years, we've grown together, building something extraordinary. With 35 borders monitored 24/7 across the country, we facilitated cross-border trade, keeping our economy thriving and our nation connected. From Lunga Lunga to Isebania, from Muhuru Bay to Luagaga, from Moyale to Elwak, all the way to Shimoni. You've partnered with us. You've played your part. Together, we've contributed to the growth of our nation.
Kutoka Lamu, asante.
From the land taxpayers, we say thank you.
Kawa wo Kisumu Port, hero rukamana.
Alun ko Busia, Yalama.
Oyalega tume, Yalatoma.
Aserian, Ainwa Isiolo, Asheoleng.
Kuma Kirenyaga County, Niwega Muno.
Kungeten Eldoret, Kongoi Misi.
Tete Masako, Nimuvea. Ula Kwale unamba santeni.
Kuma Voi, County Davida Nakpeta. Chamsha Insan.
Nuwartanari Vati, Galatoma.
Tume Chenebo Ketui, Nimuvea Mono.
Kimwa Kajiado, Asholeng.
Toka Mombasa, asante.
Alokichogio abala ijokono.
Nipunga. Akwa kita lakaran. Ikata chaka ichurudan abala ijokono.
Kuma Karakini County. Ito Niwega.
Kongeten Kericho County. Kongoi.
Barigwene, Asholeng.
Kaingwa Samburu, Ashetino Oleng.
Murega. Mama na waja hururu, Nyebegio mono.
Ohurula Kakamega, Oriomno.
Koroagusi, Mbuya Mono.
Kutoka Kitale, Kongoi Pana.
From Nairobi, thank you.
From every corner of Kenya, we are dedicated to supporting you on your tax compliance journey. Your feedback has guided our progress from the Simba system to ICMS, from manual processes to iTax, from iWhistle for reporting corruption to a fully fledged customer contact center, enhancing our real-time customer response.
Ula Kilifi, unamvera kwa kwenu kwa kutimiza jukumu la kwenu la kuriha ushuru.
Asanteni sana kwa kutimiza malengo genu ga kuriha ushuru kikamilifu.
Together, we build stronger communities and a brighter future.
As the captain of this ship, I will fully support and commit to each and every one of you who is dedicated to a modernized, service-oriented tax administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Today we are discussing about the authorized economic operator, and as highlighted earlier, this program is under the World Customs Organization Safe Framework of Standard. It basically began after the 9/11 terrorist attack on the United States of America. And therefore, what happened is after the terrorist attack, then there was almost a near freeze on trade because many countries now were hesitant to allow goods into their country, or they put a lot of processes that prevented smooth trade to take place. So like in America, if you were to import from Asia, then your goods had to be rerouted through European ports before they go to America, basically for security purposes. After some times, the trading community sat together as the World Trade Organization and the World Customs Organizations, and through discussions that were held, the members agreed that not everybody who is involved in the trade is actually a person with ill intent. They're actually good customers who have no issues with their clients, and therefore these people, they were termed as trusted traders by the different countries, so that this is a person who has been doing logistics business or has been involved in import and export of cargo in that country for some times, and the customs authorities have his history or records, and therefore it is easy to know this person is okay, and therefore let's facilitate him. Therefore the country sat down and they said, okay, now let's put modalities of facilitating this authorized economic operator, and through what we call the safe framework of standards. Therefore, guidelines were provided under which these trusted traders can be identified. And then secondly, once we identify these traders, the next thing is that we allow them now, or we reduce the checks that we have put in place, because we have these are people we know and we trust. And therefore, the various countries sat together and put guidelines, and each country adapted its own measures. So in Kenya, the program began in 2007, 2008. That's when the piloting started. And then in 2010, the program kicked off officially. So we can say the AO program in Kenya is 14 years old. And we have been facilitating the people in the program from that time till now. We have the program, as I said, is based on trust, and therefore the guiding principles on AU as guided by the World Customs Organization and the World Trade Organizations are mutual transparency. That is both the government, that is the customs and even partner government agencies will be together with the business, will be transparent in their operations, and therefore customs will come and look into your processes and see if how well you are conducting your processes from the time of importation to the time you sell your goods here locally or you export to other countries. Then the program is based on voluntary compliance. It's basically saying that you are coming to customs just like when you say whoever comes to Caesar then must come with clean hands. Then this is the same, that whoever, when you're coming to present yourself to the program, then the program is basically based on voluntary compliance, that you shall use the correct tariffs, that you shall use the correct values, that you shall come to customs and say, this is my entire business process and business flow, this is my ownership, and therefore you are free to check into my processes and I will comply, and any changes that you may want, you may comply. At this point, I would like to say that the process is two-way, so that we have suggestions from business and we also have suggestions from customs. And then we have the responsibility in terms of there is responsibilities on both sides, so that as a trader, you know this is what you're supposed to do. As a logistics operator or a clearing agent, this is what I'm supposed to do. As an exporter, you know what you're supposed to do. And as government, then we know what we are supposed to do, both customs and partner government agencies. So the main work of the economic authorized economic operator program, it is aimed at enhancing trade through simplifying customs procedures. And therefore, if you are in this program, then it means that once you have gone through the normal checks that we do, then we shall enable you to easily clear your goods. And by this, what do I mean? I mean that once your cargo, you have done your declarations, then once your cargo comes to Mombasa or it comes to the airport, then you're able to remove your goods with ease. And in terms of operations, I will give a simple example because I know most authorized economic operators are able to clear the goods at the seaports within 8 hours. This is because the program simply provides or enables you to do what we call from vessel to truck. Once the ship carrying your cargo arrives in the port of Mombasa, it is put on the ground. The next thing is your lorry comes in. You have got no business going to the verification area. It goes straight to the gate. of the port and it is released at the port. This is also true for people doing export who are under facilitative AO. They are able to load. Customs does not come to do verification of the loading supervision. Once you load your consignment here, then you take your cargo straight to the port of Mombasa. And therefore, instead of you having 4 days to delivering your goods at the port of Mombasa, 4 days to the cut-off date, you only need like 2 days to the cut-off date, because once you load and you know that from here to Mombasa, your truck is taking 10 to 12 hours, then you can easily deliver your goods within that time. It is also, customs expects AO to act in compliance with customs laws and regulations. This is true. We are not saying that once you join a AO program, that this is a carte blanche to do what you want to do. It means that once you are authorized, the normal risk checks will be done at the background, and if you are found not to be contravening the law, then you shall be removed from the program, and normal action in terms of the people who commit irregularities or break the customs law will take place, and therefore offenses can be preferred against you and other legal steps that the Commission of Customs is allowed. And therefore, once you are allowed to be into the program, then you are supposed to maintain compliance with the normal laws and regulations. I know that in customs there are many issues, especially to do with the tariff that may change from time to time, and this is expected. However, issues to do with the values and origination, we expect a high amount of compliance when it comes to our authorized economic operator. It is imperative to note that if you're in this program and you are found to be involved in fraud or deliberate evasion of taxes, then we will remove you from the program. There are benefits, several benefits under this program. One and most significant for traders is that there is faster clearance of cargo. This is for people who in Kenya and in the East African community who use AO clearing agent and AO importer. And therefore, the average clearance time, the rest of the goods is over 48 hours. The people who are registered under these programs are able to do clearance within 8 hours, and their goods leave the port and they're able to reach the destination on time. This is not only through the port of Mombasa. We do not tell you to choose any preferred point. You can clear your goods at ICD, you can clear your goods at CFS, but at whatever point that you are ready to pay your taxes, once you pay your taxes, then you just go and remove your goods at the customs gates at whatever point of clearance, including the airport. We advise our taxpayers to ensure that they give their logistics operator or clearing agents their documents at least 4 days to arrival of cargo for sea cargo, so that they are able to be cleared on time. Others are able to even give them within a month to clearance of cargo, within a month before the cargo lands here, and for sea within 4 to 5 days before the cargo is for air within 48 hours, so that they do their normal clearance on time. Then the other second major benefit is cargo turnover. This is because if you are doing export, it means that you get your goods, they go to the port, and you tomorrow you can load. The following week you can load. If you are loading like 2 times, you have reduced your cut-off time by 2 days or 3 days, then you can do more volumes. This is the same for sea. If you are timing your cargo and you are spending 5 days clearing, and now you are taking less than 12 hours to clear your goods, it means your cargo can come can be released at the port. It comes to your warehouse, you return your containers on time. Therefore, you are also relieving yourself in terms of damage. There are little chances that you will incur container costs in the damage charges for that matter. And also you're able to plan your work better, because if I import my cargo from let's say Asia to here is 21 days, or from Europe to here is 45 days, then I can easily plan and know that once it arrives that I'll be able to get it within this number of days. We also make it easy in terms of doing business, ease of doing business, because you take less time to clear. You're able to take your cargo faster to the market, and therefore your work is much, much, much easier. We are also saying in terms of ease of doing business, because we know that from time to time there will be disputes with customs. If you are an authorized economic operator, in terms of such disputes, then the goods can be released to your premises, where either they'll be destination verification, or you can do simply an undertaking, which will not take you a lot of time, and the cargo can be released to you as the dispute continues. The other thing is for AO, I know there is enhanced reputation, whether you are dealing with a local company or you are dealing with international company. KRA is in the process of signing what we call mutual recognition agreement. You can be able to say even mutual recognition agreement with other companies in China and with other countries in China, India, and such countries, where we are trying to agree with them that to recognize our AO, so that we will also be recognizing the AOs. Therefore, if you are dealing with an AO now, you'll be able to know whether that AO is an AO in China or India, and also you can say you are an AO in your country. I know in terms of reputation, especially for clearing agents, this is they are benefiting a lot from this. I know that there are many companies who are doing importation who will not deal with people or with clearing agents who are not AO, and therefore it also enhances your image as a company. There is also improved port efficiency. There is improved turnaround time, and the KPA has given us the numbers to show that essentially operators in this program are or have minimum delays at the port. I've talked about dispute resolutions so that we allow for destination verification. This is among one of the biggest benefits, and therefore you will not be wasting times paying storage charges, because once your cargo is stopped, then all you need to do is do an undertaking, and we allow for destination verification. If it is samples that need to be drawn, then they can be drawn at destination. Also at the AO office, we have, for each AO, we have a relationship manager who we call a CRM, customer relationship manager. It means that as an AO, if you have any queries in terms of customs, or if you have any business with the commissioner, then you can always pass by our office or just write an email to us. There's a person assigned to you who then will follow up with you in some of the things that you need to follow up on. And I can attest this. There are people who have been having issues probably with exemption, and therefore we've been able to assist them follow up. The people who have been having problems with refunds, we've been able to assist them follow up on their refunds. And we are talking of any process. Is it at the release point that you have issues, that your cargo has been stopped, or is it at the tariff? Then we are able to push the tariff team to ensure that you have your tariff rulings on time. So long as you communicate to your customer relationship manager about your issue, we'll be able to step in and resolve that issue. Then we have who can be an AO. And therefore you can see from that chart, we have importer, exporters. So far we have, I believe, 237 people who are important exporters. We also have 185 companies that are under facilitative AO, or what we call the Green Channel. We have clearing agents. We have 123 clearing agents who are AOs. We have manufacturers who fall under the importer-exporter category as they do import or export. We have transporters. We have 19 companies who we have licensed to be AOs. We have a bonded warehouse. So far, we have not received any applications, but now KRA has rolled out a module where you can do self-regulation. That is basically, as a bond operator, you'll be able to you will not be needing a clearing agent to come and man the registers at your place. You can apply and it's approved without having a physical presence of a customs bonded officer. And that is what we are calling self-regulated bonded warehouse. We are hoping that we will this year that we will get more applications for the bonded warehouses or the self-regulated bonded warehouse. We have consolidators, although so far we had one consolidator, but due to the stringent measures and the need to follow traceability in AO, it was dropped. We also have SMEs, and we have the facilitative AO program that is basically tailored for SMEs. We also are thinking of bringing in more and more people into the trade. That is, will involve freight forwarders and other people that are involved in the logistics business, so long as we're able to craft benefits for them that will enable them to be facilitated by the customs and by partner government agencies. So this is the steps that if you want to be an AO, it's a very easy journey. You do an application. Our applications can be found on the KRA website together with the application forms. So once you do an application for AO certification, and then you provide for us the documents. Basically, the documents are on 4 areas that the AO looks into. The documents that we ask for look into the ownership of the company. So you will need probably a CR12. This is a security-based program, and therefore we will be requiring the certificate of good conduct for the directors. We will be asking for an organogram to know how many employees you have. We'll be asking for a tax compliance certificate, and then we will be able to look into your policies that you have in place in terms of ICT security, HR, to look at how you are hiring, whether you can be able to know the people in your organizations. Are you doing any background checks? And the other thing is financial stability of the company, because now customs is allowing you to do your trade and someday come to do a post-clearance audit. And therefore, your company must be of good financial standing for you to be allowed into the program. Then we will do verification of the application. What I would like to suggest is you can share your questions at the comment sections. We will pick them at the presentation. I have seen one hand, so I don't know, moderator, if you can allow him to raise the questions, or I finish the presentation, then I pick the questions. I will suggest, Ronald, you allow me to finish the presentation, then I can pick the questions, if that's fine by you. Then there's the verification by the customs AO. There is the verifications by the customs AO office, and then there is of the application. After that, we do mandatory compliance by the applicant with the partner government agencies and KRA. Then we come for site visit. At step 3, basically what we are doing is we are doing the AO is more or less like a tax clinic. So we'll be looking, have you paid your taxes? For domestic taxes and for customs? Have you had customs offenses? Have you ever been in a customs case? Have you been investigated for fraud and such? We'll also be looking into what is your history with customs for the last 3 years, so that we are able to know that whether your level of compliance with the law. Then the next thing is after we have done, we do a preliminary report. At this point, we're able to give you feedback. So if you are involved in, let's say, fraud, or you owe DTD some money, an audit was conducted, or there's some money that is pending, at this point, we are able to give you feedback and tell you, yes, we have received your applications, we have reviewed it, but you have issues with 1, 2, 3, kindly clear. Or if we see that you have really not complied, then we can tell you, yeah, thank you for applying, but at this stage, you have to do 1, 2, 3 before we continue with processing the application. Basically, at this point, this is the preliminary report, and in most cases, is we consider the AO application and the process of becoming an AO like a journey to us. So we are basically working with you, and if we stop working with you, it means that we have reviewed and seen that you do not meet the minimum requirements. But for areas that can be corrected, then we work together with a particular applicant until the level of you qualifying as an AO. After that, we conduct a site visit. The site visit would be basically to look into, if you say that you have these processes in place, if you said you have done this, and it's basically a walkthrough. And after the walkthrough, we sit down and we give our feedback and say, there are areas 1, 2, 3 that we have seen that need improvement. And the teams comes back, does a report, and says whether there is major non-compliance, then of course you are informed that you cannot qualify. But in most cases, then if you have complied, then we accept your application and we do it in writing, and you are notified. You can see that this is quite an easy step. If you have qualified, then we notify you. If you have declined, also you have a right of information to be given the reason as to why you have been denied, or your application has been denied by customs. And therefore, we hold a discussion. You are always free to visit us, ask questions as to why you are not able to be given this particular AO. And then of course, after we have accepted you, you come for the signing of the MOU. The MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding with the Commissioner, will basically tell you of the terms and conditions, that your obligations to the program and the Commissioner's obligations. Commissioner's obligations include that you'll be given destination verification, your consignments will move from once you pay, they will go to under release. There are some consignments that are not supposed to be moving under sale and such. And the commissioner will also give you obligations that every month you're supposed to give us feedback on how many declarations that you made, how many, if there were any irregularities, if there was change in management, if there was change in ownership, then you notify customs on a monthly level. Then we issue the national AO certificate. I know we have been putting them in bunches. So after every 3 months that we are able to give one bunch, and then we activate in the system. So in most cases, step 8 does come before step 7, so that we do an activation for you in the system and you're able to enjoy the benefits of the program. How long does the process take? You have seen all the 8 steps normally take 90 to 120 days, depending on how well organized or you are. So, and depending on also the level of work, because we have quite a number of people now applying for this program because of the benefits that they have seen either or have heard from other people. So the process will take about 90 to 120 days. It might be seem a lot, but if you look at the world numbers for the AO program in some countries, you take up to 2 years to be an AO, and they have signed that. The average is that most countries will do these processes in 6 months. As East African community, we have agreed that the minimum time that should be taken is 120 days for you to be given an AO. The maximum time is 120 days for you to be given the AO. The minimum time can be less than even the 90 days. So I've seen questions on the documents that are required. So you have the company details and a contact person. What I would like to say is that the contact person for the purpose of the AO program should be probably a director or person involved in logistics. We have seen that in most times, with the people that or the contacts that we have at the AO offices, and maybe the person was in the logistics office and they moved or they found greener pastures, which is acceptable. And therefore, when we still write to those persons when the contacts have changed, so we urge companies to give us generic passwords like logistics at Musili Limited and such, or also contact of a person in logistics or in finance plus an email for a director, so that when we send our messages, you can easily get them. We also will require the human resource policy because the program is, we believe that training and improvement of people is key in the companies that are involved. And this is basically comes from the World Customs Organization. There's a very clear guidelines on the things to look for, including if background checks are being done at the point of hiring, if there is training on security and safety, and the people on the ground understand the security measures by the company. So we also look into the organizational structure, your code of conduct, and if for the purpose of trade, that do you have service level agreements with your or company contracts with the people that you trade with, so that for trace purposes, if you have identified a clearing agent, have you signed with this clearing agent? If you are a clearing agent and you use transporters, not your own fleet of trucks, do you have a contract with these people? So that in case, because these goods, customs did not check at the point of entry. So in case something happens, or if it is an export, was not checked by customs, in case something happens, then we can know that these goods, you have a contract with company A. That is, we should be able to see contracts between yourselves and your clearing agent, your transporters, and other service providers, so that there is traceability of the consignment. And in case the consignment is to be traced back, then we can see it, because you already, the people that are involved in your business are people that you have a trading history with and you have contracts and commitments with. Then obviously we look for import and export. We ask for import and export section employees list. For clearing agents, we also ask for a list of your staff. Are they trained in KESRA? Do they access the KRA systems? Are they able to communicate with KRA in case of any incidences? Whether the people in your logistics department understand, so that they are able to prevent or they are able to do risk checks on your declaration, so that you are not solely relying on your clearing agent, but you also have an idea on the trade or the goods that you are trading in, their tariffs and other details that are there in the customs declaration. Of course, we also look at your license, if you are clearing agent, whether you have it is valid when you did the last interview, financial statement for the company for the last 3 years, to be able to see the pattern of your of your financial performance, and therefore you are required to be, of course, of good financial standing, that you are not bankrupt, that even your auditor has looked and said this company is a going concern. We also are able to look for your documented procedures on safety and security, your documented procedures on records, that is record keeping. Can we be able to see you as an importer? Can we be able to trace your, or as an exporter, from the time you received your LPO, to the time you got your pro forma invoice, to the time you got your invoice, your declaration, to the time you got your quotes here and you're able to sell the goods. So are we able to get that line? Are we able to see how long do you back up your records? Where do you back up your record? Do you have a system that connects between your finance and your records, or is it standalone? Do you have an SAP that is able to connect all this, so that when the post-clearance team comes, then they can be able to trace, they can be able to see the connection between your declarations, between your trading and your finances. And therefore, we want to see how well your record keeping is and how easy it is to trace. This is the same for clearing agents, that you have received business from such and such importers. These are the documents that you receive, that you have a contract with them, that whether you are paying shipping charges for them, or you are paying container detention charges for them, up to the end process. You do declarations for them, if they are AOs or not. What steps are you taking as a clearing agent to ensure that due process is followed in the clearance process? And if you transport for these people, do you have are they being checked in terms of are you able to track your those consignments that you are clearing, and to the point of to the importer's premise? What is your agreement with the importer? Is it that you track and responsibilities end at the containers at the importer's premise, or do your responsibilities end at the gate of the clearance station? So we also look at your procedures for dealing with staff, visitors. How, if I come to your company, then am I recorded? Does security want to know who I am? Who are you dealing with? Then we also look into that. We also look at your internal control systems. Do you have an internal audit department? Or even if you don't have one, do you have measures to check whether the policies that you have given us from time to time are working? Are they reviewed? Does somebody check into them? Then we look for such processes to ensure that there is continuous improvement of your company. Then we have to say, now, once you become an AO, I want to be very clear that your consignment, yes, now you are an exporter, or you are an importer, or you are a clearing agent. Once you become an AO, the only transactions that will be recognized as an AO transaction will be where there is an AO importer-exporter and an AO clearing agent. If you have an AO importer-exporter and your clearing agent is not an AO, then you'll not be able to enjoy the benefits. If you come in as a clearing agent or a logistics operator, forwarder, and the people that you are dealing with are not AOs, then you will not enjoy these benefits. Sometimes we recruit people and we are not seeing the transactions that they are making, especially AO transactions, because the people that they deal with are not AO importers, and there is complaint that we are not enjoying these benefits of AO. It's because probably the importer or exporter that you're dealing with is not an AO. And therefore, we urge you, when you get in, even as a clearing agent, bring in also your importers and exporters so that they are also able to enjoy that benefit. We also encourage that if you're an AO importer, clearing agent, that you also, if you have a transporter who's an AO transporter, then the whole of that transaction is an AO transaction. All interveners in the declaration process are supposed to be AOs for the transaction to be an AO. So this is this chart shows the normal process. Once you do your declaration, or your clearing agent does your declaration, the next thing is in the ICMS system, the step that is it is called it is called, once you create, goes to under control. If you pay and you're an AO, then you're able to, step 3 will be a background check. The risk analysis or our P&T team, all of them, of course, the ICMS system does risk analysis on its own, on the basis of the database, and is able to guide the verification of sign one or another. So we have, once the agent has created, then he registers an e-slip. If the declaration is registered and the owner pays, if you're an AO, then you skip step 3. 3 is background. You skip step 4, and it goes to step 5, which is pending removal. If it's not an AO transaction, then you will have to do step 3 and 4. 4 means that it is under control, and you have to go to the HVO for the HVO to determine whether you will go for verification or not. After that, the consignment is removed at step 6. And therefore, the step that everybody knows is that when you say customs has stopped my goods, mzigo yangu imekwama Mombasa, imefanya nini, is mainly because of step 4. Step 4 is the one that says the customs officer, the head verification officer, and his team should go and open the consignments and then have the goods checked for determination on origination, on value, on tariff and such. And therefore, that's the main issue between AO and non-AO. So basically from registered, and you generate an e-slip, which would then go to the bank and pay. We advise most people to pay taxes for themselves. And the system now, KRA system has moved so that the instant you pay your own taxes, then on your registered iTax email, it will be able to show you how much you have paid or how much taxes that you owe KRA. And therefore there is in terms of seeing your transactions. Then we move straight to step 5, which is a pending removal. Then we once you become an AO, of course, it means that after every 3 years, if you are a clearing agent or you are an importer, the AO team will come to check whether you are still complying with the rules that you started with. And therefore, we have a mechanism for compliance monitoring. So we do compliance assessment. We check on existing operators. And then we monitor, of course, your company operations. That is using our risk team. Then we're able to know that you are complying or you're not complying. And if you have issues, then we'll be able to ask you, why is it that these issues are occurring? Why is it that you're having issues of origination? Why is it that you're having issues of value as an AO? What steps are you taking to comply, or where are you in terms of engagement with the commissioner? Then we can either refer your company to post-clearance audit, but if we realize that if we investigate and see that there are issues of fraud and it is proved, then we'll be able to, we will cut off that relationship that we have. Although I would want to say that in most cases for the companies that are AO, we rarely move because most of them are complying to remove them. But even the removal process, is we have to follow the law, and therefore the Constitution gives you the right to answer in case of any issues that are raised. And therefore, if there are any issues, then what you'll do first is you'll get a warning for you to explain yourself. Then if the warning is not answered or the issues are not resolved, then you'll get a suspension. And if we continue and you're unable to deal with those issues at the level of suspension, then eventually there'll be a revocation to the non-compliant companies. And therefore, we have the application or renewal for certification is after 3 years. And what we are urging, because I know there are quite a number of AOs in this meeting, is if you are an AO and you know that your 3 years are almost coming due, is please, within, at the point 6 months to the completion of the 3 years, kindly write to customs that I've been an AO for this period and my certification is due after 6 months, and therefore I'm inviting the team for to do compliance checks so that I can get an automatic renewal when my time comes. We had in the past, due to staff challenges, issues to do with the companies that were getting automatic renewal, but now we have enough staff so that you will not fall due if you comply. So we are writing to you 3 months to time. In case you don't write to us 6 months, we'll write to you 3 months to time. Kindly cooperate with the compliance team, provide the documents on time so that we can schedule audits for you and we can be able to give you correct feedback in a timely manner. The audit will take about 2 to 3 months, depending on how fast you are with the provision of documents and the amount of work that the compliance officers at the AO office have. Warning takes 6 months and suspension is for a period of a year. Revocations, then you have to stay for a period of 3 years before you can apply to be back in the program. Now, in East Africa, and in Kenya, we recognize 2 categories of AOs. There is what we call the National AO Program. These are basically all the companies that we have said these are AOs in Kenya. Then under the EAC, because as a region we have accepted this program and they have provided guidelines, is once you become a national AO, you can apply to be a regional AO, and your AO status will be recognized within the region. And therefore, we have regional AOs that can have. Then this is the regional AO program that you must be a nationally accredited AO for a period of not less than 1 year. The company must have satisfied the compliance levels established in the National Customs Authority. The company must have fulfilled compliance requirements set out by the other member state. And therefore you can see we are giving you a period of 1 year as an AO. Then now you can apply to be a regional AO recognized by the other EAC countries. For the regional AO, then there's a validation report. Then we send our report to the other customs authorities within the region, who then accept you and allow you to be in the program. Then we have a report compiled and communicated to the EAC Secretariat, who will then give us feedback and also give you a certificate as a regional AO. The validity is the same as the national AO. The validity is 3 years. Then you shall have a reassessment as per World Customs Organization safe framework of standard parameters. Regional AO module is in testing. This is the automated AO program, is on a testing stage, and it will be implemented at the region. I know we have made advances for the regional AO, and what was lacking was resources, and I think there is some money now for it to be implemented. Appeal on AO, because sometimes we have seen that you might be suspended and it is your right, under the law to appeal any decision of the commissioner. Therefore, you have a right to lodge a complaint as per Section 229 of the East African Community Customs Management Act. The commissioner has 30 days to give feedback on any decision, and that decision must be communicated to you in writing, and the commissioner must give reasons as to why he agrees or does not, he or she agrees or does not agree with your application or with your objections. The AO program draws its powers from various articles or from various sections of the law. One is the World Customs Framework, World Customs Organization Safe Framework of Standard, to which Kenya is a signatory. We also draw from World Trade Organization Facilitation on Trade Facilitation Agreement, which Kenya is a signatory. The revised Kyoto Convention, which Kenya is a signatory, and the East African Customs Regulation, Compliance and Enforcement Regulations of 2012, and also from the East African Community Customs Management Act. You can find our contacts. You are free to write to us, whether you are an AO or you are interested in becoming an AO. We'll be able to give you any information using that contact, which is ao@kra.go.ke. It's a pretty easy contact, and once you write to us, then we'll be able to guide you accordingly. Thank you. Now, that is the end of my presentation. Probably I can stop this and I can be able to take the questions. I believe the questions were in the chat box. Some my team has answered, and I will pick some. Lukundo, you can guide in this process. I've seen there are many questions when I was presenting. I think we can start the question. People who had their hands up, they can be allowed to answer. Maybe Lukundo, you can guide on this process. Thank you. I can take the answer, the questions. If you have a dispute regarding HS codes, can the goods be released? And the answer is yes. If you have a dispute with the HS code, if you are an AO, then your consignment is supposed to be released. The sample is supposed to be obtained at the destination, and then it will be checked, and then the other processes will follow. And why I say this is under the East African Community Customs Management Act, Section 234, 235, 236, the commissioner is at liberty to execute or come for taxes even after the goods have left the premise, and therefore there is no loss in releasing the consignment. What I deal with, and in many cases is, and I urge the clearing agents sometimes to be bringing or to inform their people on the ground, because we teach people, we have sensitizations on AO, and probably the clerks on the ground at the various points of release are not aware of this, that you do not have to open that consignment. That you can inform us at the office here, you can write to us, you can call us, and we'll be able to intervene in that process, because many people seek our intervention after you have already opened, and I don't know, the goods have gone to the lab, you have spent 2 days. As an AO, once for AO transaction, if you are a clearing agent or you are an importer and your clearing agent is telling you that we need to open, we need to do this, your first point of contact is the AO office. Just be very clear that I'm an AO, that my consignment in case of dispute is that I should do an undertaking and have my consignment released, that even the sample can be drawn at verification. And there are many, many examples where we've intervened and the process has moved. But if you go and open your consignment, then we will just do an undertaking that in case the decision does not come your way, then you will pay the Commission of Customs. Otherwise, your consignment is supposed to be released as we wait for the lab to test and come up with its observations. And the commissioner can always write a demand not to follow up on any taxes that were not paid. Okay. How do we know who our AO RM is? Probably Eunice. You can tell us where you're coming, which company you're coming from. But I know the relationship managers, we have written to all companies that are AOs. If you give us your email down there, we can write to you. The AO team is here so that your relationship manager can write to you informing who they are. Otherwise, we have a list of, we have allocated the various companies to various staff. What other documents are required for application of renewal? Parik, I don't know. I gave a list of documents in the, if you go to the KRA website, then you'll be able to see, if you go to KRA website and you go to business, you'll be able to see the AO. You will see a tab for AO. If you click on AO, it will give you the requirements and you can be able to apply. All the requirements are in that. There's of course a checklist that will give you all the requirements that you're supposed to have to make an application. We have Mzuri Suites. So when the steps to be an AO are completed, the ACMS is updated to facilitate AO returns. Once the steps are completed, then we update your application in the system and then you become an AO. And therefore the system recognizes you immediately. You do a transaction as an AO. If you have any challenges or I'm not getting that question probably clearly, then you can probably expound or be given an opportunity if you raise your hand to explain or expound on that questions. Because I noticed from my end, I can only view IDF posing a challenge to compile the returns. Or this is in terms of AO returns. Something that I'm not very much aware of on your end, but it is something that we can pick at the end of this meeting and see how we can enable you to easily compile your AO returns. Jacob Kimani, we do not have very many AO currently. Is it possible to share a list of CRM for each AO and their contact? Maybe by now you have categorized the AO or each AO and their CRM. I think, Jacob, that is possible. We have an email for all AO, the email that you receive this. We can share that in that email so that you're able to see the CRM and you can, and their email address. But we use a standard email address. If you write to ao@kra.go.ke, your issue will be picked even if your CRM is not in the office. However, we will share that. My team is here and we will share the list and the office number. Fred, how and where do we submit the application form? Can it be done through email? If yes, what's the email address? Fred Zula, you can, the email, we use a standard email address, ao@kra.go.ke. You can also drop a physical file in our office that has all the requirements. We also have moved, now we have automated the process. So it means that if you have access to the ICMS system, you can do an online application as an AO, we'll be able to receive it and we'll be able to process it. So if for companies that have access to ICMS, that they have staff who are trained on ICMS under the company pins, then they can apply and we can process that application online instead of bringing a physical folder or writing an email. After MOU is signed, HV, when do we receive the certificate? I have addressed this issue that the certificates are bunched together. So maybe 2 to 3 months because we want to put all of them together and give them. If you have, however, if you apply online, then once we are through with your processes, then the certificate is immediate. If I am an AO and my clearing agent is AO, now tell me the need for transporter to be an AO. Mostly for AO transporters, and the program encourages one to deal with this program is about traceability and security. And therefore, if you have an AO transporter, then it means that your entire chain is verified. We will not force you to have an AO transporter if you do not need one. Enough. When I become an AO member, is there a need for seeking service of a clearing agent for that matter other than the port and care staff, James Ogaga? This question is also not very clear. Being an AO does not mean that now you are given permission to do your own declaration. If you want to do your own declarations, then you have to be created as you have to seek license for KRA clearing. So I know there are importers who also have in-house clearing companies that they used to clear. So this being an AO does not negate the fact that you will need a clearing agent, and therefore you will still need a clearing agent. And for the second issue is that for the matter other than port and care staff, still not very clear to me. The clearance process involves other people. Of course, you need to pay for shipping lines, go and take your BL, move. Identify transporters permission to get into the port to get the goods. So there are other processes that the clearing agent plays that you need to understand, Mr. Ogaga. And as I have advised, it does not, being an AO does not negate the need of the clearing agent. In fact, if you checked, I said you need to be an AO importer and an AO clearing agent for it to be an AO transaction. So you can, if you feel that you have the able people who understand the logistics business, you can apply to have your own in-house clearing firm who will then do the clearing for your consignments, and that firm can apply to be certified for AU. We know we are on ICMS system. How do we know we are on the ICMS system? Once you have been licensed as an importer or a clearing agent, your transactions, if you are able, if you have view of your transactions and you are in ICMS, if you once you pay for your consignments and you look at the status, then they will move from registered to under removal, and you'll be able to easily see that you that's an AO transactions. Of course, this is a take home for us that for those people who are under ICMS, whether it is importers or clearing agent, probably there is need for a tab that shows that, or identifies you that you are an ICMS. Probably we need to put also a tab on whether you on your status, whether you are active or not active, or you are suspended. And therefore, that's a take home for us. We appreciate that. HV is an oversight on our part. There's need for you to be able to see that you are an AO in the system. Okay, that one is a take home for us. We appreciate the feedback. Mzuri Sweet, I think you have been answered. Sami has answered. On the issue, Fred, you had been answered, and Eunice, how do we know how do we know who our RM is? That question has come over and over. I have answered it. Then a point where clearing agents manipulate documents and lie. From Enoch, probably Enoch, you can be allowed to just raise your hand. The facilitator will pick you and you can be able to elaborate. I'm not sure. One of the things I would advise Enoch is if you are an AO, then it means that you have put in place systems and measures. And one of the things that we ask is, who are the people in your logistics or in your procurement office? And are they trained in customs? Do they understand how the ICMS system works? But because of manipulations or losses that have been occasioned sometimes by some people who are not very honest, who may not be even clearing agents themselves, but people who you give documents and may masquerade as clearing agents, who then go to other people who are real clearing agents and give them also fake documents. Then the easiest thing is now the system has advanced in such a way that using your register, and we urge people to always ensure that their iTax email address is updated, because each time you lodge an entry, then that message, if an entry is lodged or if there are monies that are owed by you, by the taxman from you, then that information comes to your desktop or to your phone and tells you that an entry has been lodged and this is the amount of taxes that are due. In fact, KRA has gone even a step further. Now we have connected the ICMS and iTax in such a way that now when you're making your VAT returns, and if you put your entry number that you have given, the amount that you will say that you have paid is counter-checked against what is in ICMS. So if you find that there are challenges, then at that point you can go back and see from your email or from your director's email how much you are supposed to pay. Then if there are differences, then you can do an internal process to check. And all this has been done because of issues whereby documents were manipulated, people were given fake entries, and they were made to pay, and this money was not reaching the exchequer or KRA accounts. So we have 667. So when people steps to be AO are completed, the SMS is updated to facilitate AO returns. I believe Christine has answered this. What documents are to be maintained for audit purposes? Basically, once the same documents that we do at recruitments, there is very little difference with the compliance stage. Only that now at compliance or monthly, you're updating us on changes in ownership, changes in maybe security, or maybe you have moved to a new place, the ownership has changed and such. And therefore, it becomes very easy. Enoch, you have a question you can ask. As I continue, I can hear you. Enoch? If you have got no question, then I can move on. I believe many of the questions have been answered. My team has provided answers in the chat box. How can we access the ICMS system trading? Good question, Farouk. Once, if you want to apply or if you want to be trained, ICMS training is done by our licensing team. They're the ones who then liaise with KESRA to ensure that you are trained in ICMS. The licensing team is at Samia Business Park. They are found on on second floor of Samia Business Park, Block B3. And therefore, if you share your email, probably we can share. I'm sure the email is licensing at KRA, customs licensing at kra.go.k. My team will confirm and write the email for licensing for you to be able to write to them or visit them at Samia Business Park. Any other question? I believe the moderator has allowed, you can always ask your question if you are not satisfied with your answers. With our answers, you can ask the questions. You are allowed to speak now so that we make any clarifications. There are still more questions coming. Can I get details? HV, I'm not sure which details you want, but it is important to clarify on the details that you want. Farouk will be sending you the email address for licensing. Weekly for Diambo, you ask what if an AO importer is licensed as a clearing agent? Will this process cut across, or they still need to apply? Or you still need to apply for your clearing firm to be an AO? Just apply, because it's even easy, because we have already done the checks on you on the importation. And I'm sure so long as the clearing is an in-house, the clearing agent is in-house, the clearing firm is in-house, you share directors and such, it's easy, that one. I hope I've answered you, Wycliffe. ICMS AO module, you're missing this module in your application. Basically, I believe the only thing you require is for it to make an application, and therefore you can share an email address. We can pick it after that from Zuri Suites. We would like to be trained on ICMS. That one I have gotten you. Please contact our licensing unit at Samia. We're in Mombasa. Okay. We have noted that. We will ask if from our license, please share your email address so that our licensing team can get back to you. We'll also share the email address for licensing so that you get back to them. Any other questions? We can give another 5 minutes for questions and we can end the sessions. There are future plans to integrate AO compliant farms, KEBS, destination inspection as an AO compliant, then you pay for previous equivalent of origin charges. Thank you very much for that wonderful question, Eric. Yes, we have what we call the National AO Framework, which is an advanced stage. I think we have already signed with about 5 government agencies. We are to sign with a minimum of 10 government agencies who are involved in the logistics business or government agencies or interveners who are involved, and therefore once we sign, then it means that as we recruit you as an AO, then KEBS will also be involved in the process, and destination verification by KEBS can be done. I'm sure we will probably by close of this year have everybody on board, including KEBS, so that the benefits can be enjoyed also in terms of the partner government agencies. Thank you for that question, Eric. If you want to speak, please, you are free to ask your questions. The moderator has opened the chance for anyone who has a question to ask. If you raise your hand, then you can be picked and you can ask your question. In another, I think 2 minutes, we'll be coming to the end. I'm waiting for more questions. Team, kindly provide the email address for licensing so that they can pick.
Hello and welcome to another session of the Mobile Tax Unit Service Testimonials, where you, the taxpayers, can tell us your experience at the Mobile Tax Unit bus and how we can better our services. This week, tumekuwa hapa South Rift, tumeweza kufailia returns, tumeweza kuapply for tax amnesty, and also tumeweza kueducate on e-teams. Tume-interact na taxpayers from Rumuruti, from Keringet, Kapsoit, Longisa, na pia Kilgoris. Let's hear what they have to say.
My name is Sally Puetich. I'm so happy today. This is a good and the best day for me. The KRA guys are here. I had a penalty of 120,000, but now it's clean, it's zero. I'm so happy.
Naitwa Anwata kutoka Rumuruti. By the way, leo nimeona basi yenu na ikakuwa msaada mkubwa kwangu. Juu nilikuwa na deni kubwa na imeweza kunitolea hiyo deni yote. So naweza omba pia mruti tena Rumuruti muwasaidie watu wenye wako na deni tu kama mimi. So now I'm free.
Vivian Gadhoni Macharia kutoka hapa Rumuruti. Za electronics ninauza ufas, TVs, computers na niko registered to KRA na registered teachings. Hii teachings inasaidia haraka na inarahisisha kazi ya kila mwisho wa mwezi. Unafanya mahesabu kwa uharaka na urahisi, na it is the best thing nimekuwa nayo kwa biashara yangu.
Naitwa Marian, naishi Gilgil na nafanya kazi Gilgil Town. Na leo asubuhi nikaona basi ya KRA just opposite direct my shop, na watembelea wanisaidie kunibadilishia my email, which they did, na nikafurahia sana.
And on top of that, nilikuwa na swali, nilikuwa nataka wanionyeshe about tax amnesty ambayo wamenionyesha na nikaona ni rahisi, na nafurahia kwa sababu ya kuja kwao, kwa sababu nimejua kuifanya, na I'm willing to help other people in Gilgil ambao wanataka ku apply for tax amnesty.
Kwa majina naitwa Joseph Kinyanjio Wamboi, mkazi wa hapa Gilgil town, ambapo watu wa KRA wamekuja. Hii ni mara yao ya pili. Wamekuja kama last year walikuwa hapa na nikafile returns. Nilifile kwa 4 peoples ambao ni my family members. Tena wamekuja hii mwaka, nimefurahia tena. Nimekuja nimefile tena without any complaints. Sijakuwa nikipata complaint yote kwa yenye nimefailia. Nimeweza kuwelcome pia marafiki zangu wengine wakuje. Nimewahimiza kuhusu hiyo zero returns. Wengine wanakuja wako na madeni, wanaelezewa venye watafanya na yote inaenda vizuri. Nimefurahia sana na ningehimiza pia hata nyinyi watu wa KRA mkienda mashinani huko mnaambia watu kuhusu hizi habari za kufile returns. Sababu wengine wamekaa tu nyumbani na wajui kuhusu hizo filing ya returns na inakuwa shida baadaye. So nimefurahia na nawapongeza kwa kazi njema na Mungu amani awabariki. Asanteni sana kwa kuja Gilgil.
Kenyans, take advantage and you will be free like me. Kericho County,